Hello and welcome to this video where I'll show how you can make a simple player movement where you can rotate your player around and will be able to shoot with the left mouse button and to destroy a bullet when you hit, in this case, a red enemy. Yeah, let's get to it. So let's start to set up the UI. And what I have here is a 2D sprite, and what I'll be using is a white square. It's 32 by 32 pixels. So let's add it here as the sprite. Let's bump it up a bit. This will be the background. Let's make it 50 times 50. Just yeah, it could be a bit smaller like this. Let's make it 30, 35. Let's make the background a little darker and call it background. Now let's create the player. So let's add 2D sprite again and call this the player, and the player will just be a simple knob. Let's place him in the middle. Let's order and layer. Let's just put him on 3. Let's make him a little bigger. Let's make him scale 3 times 3. Underneath the player, we will need a weapon so we can see the direction he is facing. So let's create again a 2D sprite. And I'll drag in the white square again, in my case, and make it black. And if you hold down the Alt key, it will scale on both axes. So let's just do this. And order and layer 4, so it will be on top of the player. This will be the gun, or the let's call it the gun. Then let's create an enemy that will again be a 2D sprite, and this will be a knob again, and I'll make this red. Let's make this enemy as well. Just scale it up a bit and move it a little away from the player. On our player, we will need a rigid body 2D. And remember to remove the gravity scale. If you don't do that, your player will simply fall down like this. So let's set it to 0. When that is done, let's create the first script, and the first script will be for the player. So let's call it the player script. Let's attach it to the player right away. Like this, and now let's open it up in Visual Studio. When that is open, let's first focus on the movement. So to get our player to move, we will need a float speed, and we will need a reference to our rigid body 2D. Remember, it has to be in the 2D, else it will not work. Let's call it RB, and then we need a private vector 2 for our move direction like this. Then in our start function, we'll need to get a reference to the rigid body. So let's say RB is equal to get component, and here we need to find the rigid body, and by doing this, it will automatically find the rigid body that you have on the player that the script is attached to. If you don't want to do it like this, you can make this has to be private. If you make it public, you can just drag it yourself instead of this way. This way, it will just find it itself. Then let's make the move input. So let's make a public void and call it move inputs. And here we will have to say we'll need a float for our move X and our move, sorry, with uppercase, and our move X will be our input.get axis raw. And what axis do we need? We need the horizontal axis. And this we can copy and paste below, and you guess so, this will be for the Y axis. And of course, this will be the vertical axis. Now we need to convert these to the vector 2. So our move direction is equal to a new vector 2. And here we need to take in our move X and our move Y, like, and then we need to normalize it as well. The normalize means that when you move your player, if you hold down two keys like A and S, then you will move faster than if you only hold down A or S. The normalize means that if you are holding down two keys like A and S, then you will move faster than if you're only holding down A or S. So this will normalize the speed, so you're not moving faster if you're pushing two keys at the same time. Then we need to to move. So let's say our velocity is equal to our new vector 2, and here we need again to take in our move direction dot x and multiply it with our speed, and we have to do the same for our move direction dot y, and we need to multiply it with the speed like this. So let's save this and head back to Unity. Let it compile. And now we have the move speed down here, and let's set it to 5. Hit play. And oh, I forgot something, of course. We need to, we need to call the move inputs. So move inputs, save it again, hit back to Unity, let it compile. Hit play, and now you can move your player around. Yes. So now let's make him rotate. So let's open up the player script again. And just to organize it a bit, let's call this up here. Let's call this move, and then we'll do the rotate, and there we will need a private vector 2 mouse position, and we need a public camera and call it main camera. And here we need to convert the mouse position to the main camera, so you know where the mouse are on the screen. So to do that, let's go down here and let's make another public void, and this will be for our mouse input. And here we can say our mouse position is equal to our main camera to our screen to world point, and the world point is our input dot mouse position. So here it's looking on the main camera, and it will find our mouse position, and the mouse position is equal to the mouse position. The vector 2, sorry, yeah, that we made up here. So now we have that. Now we need a direction to look at. So here we need to make a vector 2 look direction, And to find what direction we are looking at, then we need to take our mouse position that we just made here and minus our rigid body dot position. So this will be the mouse position that where your mouse are, and this is the position where your player are. And yeah, this will minus these two, and it will calculate the angle. So let's make a float look angle. And here we need to calculate it. So we need to take the math f dot aton 2. And here we need to take the look, direction dot y and the look direction dot x and multiply it with math f dot rad 2 degrees minus 90, like this. And then we need to say our RB dot rotation is equal to our look angle. So this is how you will calculate the angle that you are looking. So let's go here in the update and let's call the mouse input. Save it and hit back to Unity again. Now let's hit the play button and see. Oh, sorry, I forgot to the main camera. We of course need to drag it down here, else it don't know where the mouse are. So now when I rotate the mouse, it will follow and I can still move around while doing it. Yeah, that's how that works. So now let's create some bullets. I'll make him fire. So let's create what should we create first? The gun, and create a fire point. This will be the point where you need to launch the bullet. So let's call it fire point. Drag it out here. Let's create a new 2D sprite, and this will be the bullet. Let's just take the knob. Let's just move it up here. Let's make it, what should it be? Let's make it like this. And you'll call it bullet. Let's create a new script and call it bullet script. Remember to attach it. Just say it like that. Remember to attach it to the bullet. Let's open it up. And on the bullet, we will need a private rigid body 2D RB. And from the get-go, we will say RB just get component, and here we need to find the rigid body 2D like this. And then we'll need to, yeah, that's actually what we need on this right now. So let's take that down. And the bullet, we have the bullet script. Now let's create, oh yeah, let's drag it down here to make a prefab, and then you can delete it from the scene. On the bullet, remember as well to add the rigid body 2D and remember the gravity scale to 0. Now create another script, and this script will be the weapon script. And the reason why I call it weapon is because you of course can use it for multiple weapons if you have that in your game. So now choose your gun. Add the weapon script, open it up, And here we'll need a reference to the bullet. We need a public transform, and this will be the fire point. And then we need a float for the speed. Let's call it bullet speed. Let's just remove all this and make a public void called shoot. And to get it to shoot, we'll need to make a game object, and projectile is equal, and here we need to instantiate. And what will we instantiate? We will instantiate the bullet, and we will do that at the fire point dot position and the fire point dot rotation. And to get it to fly, this will only instantiate the projectile slash bullet in the scene. To get it to fly, we will need to say projectile dot get component, and here we need to get the rigid body 2D. Remember again, it has to be the 2D. Why did it do that? Sorry, like this. Oh, sorry, like this. And then we need to add force, and here we need the fire point dot up times our bullet speed. And here we need to make use the force mode 2D dot impulse like this. So save this and head back to your player script. And in the player script, we need a reference to the gun. So let's call this shoot. So let's make a private weapon script, and let's just call it gun. And to find the gun, let's say gun equal to find object of type, and here we need to find the weapon script. So now we have a reference to the weapon script we just made. And in the update function, we will simply say if input dot get mouse button. So get mouse button down, and here we will use 0. 0 is the left mouse button. Then we will say weapons, not weapons script, gun dot shoot. Let's save this and hit back to Unity. Here we need a reference to the bullet. Let's take the bullet prefab. We need a fire point, that fire point we created up here. And we need a speed for the bullet. Let's say 5. Let's hit play and see if it works. We can move around. And I would say we could shoot. Something is happening, but just a second. What's happening here? Did we not assign it? Player. We have the main camera. We have the gun. We have the fire point. The bullet, we need to set it to a higher layer than our background. So let's see. Yeah, that works. So now we can shoot. So now let's destroy the bullet when we hit an enemy or anything else. Let's take the enemy here. I'll just name an enemy so we can see what it is. Let's add a new tag. The tag, let's call it enemy. Now let's go back to your weapon script. No, sorry, the bullet. The bullet script. And in the bullet script, we will use something called onTrigger. onTrigger enter 2D. And here we can use, if you only have for one thing that it should collide with, then you can use the normal collision. But in this case, I'll use something called a switch, because if you have multiple things in your scene, like walls and enemies and objects that can be destroyed, then this is an easy way to use it. So if you use switch, and we need to switch between collisions.gameObject.tags. And in the first case, we will have the enemy. And if it hits an enemy, we will destroy the game object, and this is the game object, and that's the bullet. If that is the case, then we will break. Like this. So if you had something called, I don't know, object, then you could say case object yeah, destroy. Sorry, I need these, and then you could say destroy collision.gameObject, and we could say break, like this. Sorry, we need one here as well. So this is how you can use the onTrigger enter for more things. Then you can call, if it hits this instead of an enemy, then you should do this. But in our case, we will only have an enemy right now. So let's save the script, hit back to Unity. On the bullet, remember that we'll need a collision now. So let's make a circle collision 2D. Remember to have it as a trigger. No, sorry, it should not be a trigger. That's on the enemy. The enemy will need a circle collide as well, and this will be a trigger. And the enemy, remember to tag it as the enemy. Let's play now. So now when you hit the enemy, the bullet will get destroyed. And we can still move around, and you'll be able to shoot. Yeah, that was what I had to show you in this tutorial. Sorry for the long video, but I really hope this helped you out. And again, thanks a lot for watching, and if you want to see more videos from me, please hit that like and subscribe button below. Thank you, and see you next time.